Hey CPC, it's great to be able to see you again virtually or in person. It's amazing to be able to keep connecting with you in this way. As we move through this season of rebooting as a church, as a faith family, one of the things that we're constantly doing is looking back. Looking back so we can look forward, so we can look back so we can look forward, and figuring out what the things are that are going to come next is kind of critical. It reminds me that most communion tables around the English-speaking world have the same 6 words inscribed on their front. Do this in remembrance of me. This line, spoken by Jesus as he ate with his friends one last time, became the motto of the early Christian church. They made communion their central act, and they wanted to be known as a community of remembrance. And from that table, each week they would gather, and then they would rise, and they would go back into their communities to become ambassadors of shalom, telling a story of peace in their cities. There are 2 sides to every communion table. There's a side where you come and a side where you go. We come to the table to remember, and we go from the table to proclaim. And I want to suggest today that without either of those angles, we only focus on remembrance or proclamation, that we miss something important in the act. Remembering matters to the church. It's why churches have marked November 11th as a significant day for the last 100 years. We are a people of remembering. Do this in remembrance of me. We remember what Jesus did. We remember how he lived a life of love and service, and we remember how he freely gave his life for a world that he loved. Remembrance Day is a day that the whole world is invited into that act of remembrance, and is invited to remember what sacrificial love looks like. But if that's where the story stops, then we've missed the point of why we're remembering in the first place. Because sacrificial love isn't about the sacrifice. It's about what the sacrifice enables. On November the 11th, Canadians across the country will be asked to remember that a lot of people gave up their lives in the pursuit of peace. They weren't fighting to continue war, they were fighting for peace. In fact, it was pointed out to me this week that Chippewa, Ontario, we were our own town at that point, sent more people to the battlefields in Europe per capita than anywhere else in Canada. And they all went for the same reason, because they believed that love was worth the fight. Remembrance Day is not a day about those who died. It's about a day to remember what they died in pursuit of. That they died in pursuit of peace. Peace is what sacrificial love has always been about. Paul, the great apostle to the Gentiles, writing to the church in Rome, put it this way: "Therefore, since we have been justified by faith, we have peace with God." Jesus' death and resurrection announce that the conflict with our Creator has concluded and that we are sent as ambassadors of an armistice. Blessed peacemakers who work for a kingdom of peace on earth as it is in heaven. This is a story that we tell every week in our worship. Every time we gather at a table for communion and see those words, "Do this in remembrance of me," we are proclaiming that peace has come into our world. We remember and we proclaim. And so that's what we're going to be doing this week in worship, and I'm excited to be able to share it with you. Whether you're joining us in person or online, the chance to worship together, to remember and proclaim, is so important to everything that we are and everything that we do. We will have communion and the elements of Eucharist, of thanksgiving, of remembrance, of proclamation here in the sanctuary with us. And if you're joining us online, we hope that you will find some kind of bread and some kind of juice to act out the story of remembrance and proclamation of peace and sacrifice together with us. As always, you can contact me in any of these ways. I love hearing from you. I love getting these chances to connect, and we will see you on Sunday or really, really soon. Cheers.